So good morning, everybody. My name is Nicole, and I'm an immigration advisor at ISS. And I've shared the page for our renewing documents section, just so that in case you haven't been there yet, it's a really good starting place for questions about renewing. And this is going to be super informal. It's really just if you have a question, raise your hand, and I'll just answer questions as they come. If for whatever reason it's super complicated and it would be really your issue would be better addressed in a one-on-one advising appointment, then I'll suggest that. But hopefully there might be some common questions, and maybe some of your questions will be answered by somebody else, in response to somebody else's question in this call. So I don't see any hands raised yet. Okay, great, perfect. So Balint.
So hello everyone. My question is that I'm a PhD student at McGill and my document is expiring at the end of August. And I already applied for a study permit extension in the middle of May. And it seems that the backlog is quite long, and I have travel plans around the 1st of September. And at the same time, I also became a green card holder in the United States. So I was wondering whether it would be possible to cancel my application and just go to the border at the land and just do my study permit extension over there, or it complicates things.
Okay, so my understanding is that you are a U.S. permanent resident. Is that right?
Not quite yet. I have a US 551 visa, and I can as soon as they stamp it on the border in the US side, I assume that I am. So it's sort of I got it recently, so it's not something that I've been for a long time. So that's why I haven't applied that way. It's an I-551.
Yeah, I would maybe double check because in order to apply for the study permit at a port of entry, so at a U.S. land border at a Canadian land border, you'd have to have proof of your U.S. permanent residency.
Yes, and there's a visa or with a stamp in my passport. So they don't say in the US that's accepted as a proof of residency, permanent residency, but I'm not sure whether Canada takes it as a proof.
Yeah, so maybe what you should do is send us a copy of what it is that you have to I'm gonna put it in the chat, because for anybody who needs to contact us after your question wasn't answered or you need more information, really send it to us through the let me just put it in the chat, through the request form. So in summary, just I want to double check your what paper you have, but basically if you're a US citizen or a US permanent resident, yes, you can apply for your study permit at your port of entry. So in theory, you could wait, until the end of summer, see what happens. And if you still don't have a decision, there are different ways to do it. You could try to go before your study permit actually expires. So before August 31st, you could try and go and explain at the port of entry why it is that you're applying in person, because you have this upcoming travel. Maybe it's related to your studies. Maybe show proof of the urgency and just that the processing times for study permit extensions are taking so long. It's not called a study permit extension at the border. It's just applying for a new study permit. Look at our study permit renewal guide for U.S. citizens and U.S. permanent residents, because it'll tell you what to bring with you to the port of entry. So for example, proof of enrollment for fall and winter, proof that you're a U.S. permanent resident, proof of financial capacity to pay for your next year of studies. If you need to do biometrics, that can be done at the POE. Like if you're a U.S. PR, you're not exempt from biometrics. So in theory, it's possible. In terms of Americans or US PRs applying for a study permit, to renew one, to get a new one, to continue your studies at a POE, in the past, it wasn't an issue, for students with study permits expiring on August 31st. But last summer, we saw pushback at the border from officers who were basically telling students who came, a couple weeks before August 31st, just come into Canada and apply, extend your application, extend your study permit online from inside of Canada. They were basically saying, we're not going to, issue you a new study permit at the border, do it online. It could be because resources, it could be like, well, this is not our main job. We're supposed to be here like protecting the border, and that's not our primary function. That said, in December of last year, flag polling has ended for basically everybody except U.S. citizens and U.S. permanent residents. So I think for that, group of people, it's worth trying to, renew your study permit at a port of entry. Is it possible that an agent could tell you just come in and do the study permit extension from inside? It's possible. You can kind of try to politely explain, the urgency of your situation. Also, if you were to come, let's say you were to leave Canada while your study permit extension, like after August 31st, let's say, and you go to the conference, obviously now you've lost your maintained status, right? And now when you return, I think you have a better, you could maybe persuade them, like, I do need to apply for it here now because now I don't have one anymore. It's expired and I've lost my maintained status by leaving. So I think for people who are able to apply at the border, it could even work, if you try to do it after August 31st. But if you're kind of averse to like any kind of risk, you would maybe want to try to do that before August 31st and see what they say.
Yeah, I see. Just is my understanding correct that since I'm at the same designated learning institute and I'm at the same level, so it just the most basic case.
This is a very, yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
The processing time should be faster than the regular ones, because at least that's what I found on Reddit, that since the learning institute is the same and the same program, then you have a sort of a different timeline than others. Is that correct?
I haven't heard that at all, actually. So what we've heard informally is that study permit extension applications are taking approximately 120 days to process, which is a little bit faster than what it says online. What we've also heard is that IRCC may try to slightly expedite the processing for students who are changing designated learning institutions. So not students who are staying at the same one, but who are changing, because the ones who are changing are not allowed to start their studies at their new DLI until their application has been approved. So they're actually in a more urgent situation than those that are just staying at the same DLI. The other thing that came to mind when you asked that question is that if you are planning to apply for your study permit at a port of entry, like, renewing, but it's really a new application, you need, your CAQ has to have a provincial attestation letter, like notation on it. It needs to say, this student has a share in Quebec's, like allocation of study permits. It has to say that on your CAQ. So if your current CAQ, and most of you, if you've renewed your CAQ after February 13th, 2024, it'll automatically have that notation. But if for some reason your study permit expires before your CAQ and you have an older CAQ, you're not going to have that notation. So it's just really important, if you're going to apply from outside of Canada, either online from outside of Canada or at a port of entry, check your CAQ and make sure that it has that notation. And the exact notation, if you look in our FAQs and you go to study permit, provincial attestation letter, it's this thing here that says this letter of attestation confirms that the applicant has a place in the Quebec share of the distribution of study permit applications. So it has to say that if you're going to apply for a study permit online from outside or at a port of entry. I'm going to move on a little bit, if you don't mind, and I'll come back. If you have another question, you can raise your hand again later. I just want to get to a few other questions, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Charlie? Charlie, are you there? I think what I'll do is I'll go to Pablo, and then Charlie, I'll try again. Pablo?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So I have this issue. I'm a PhD student, and I submitted my thesis last June. So I'm just waiting for the date of my defense so that I can submit my thesis before I have to register again. But my study permit and also my CAQ are gonna expire next August 31st. So I'm kind of in a doubt if I should wait for my committee to give me a date of my exam. If it is before the deadline of August 15th, I should not apply for the CAQ, but
I see what you're saying. So it is possible that you will be defending and submitting your final thesis by August 15th, but it's also possible that you might need the fall term. Is that
exactly
right?
Yes.
What I would say is to avoid stress, it's to at least renew your CAQ.
Okay, perfect.
At least do that. And then, if you end up needing to extend your study permit, if your current one expires August 31st, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, then you'll be able to at least benefit from maintained status as long as you submit that study permit extension application by or before August 31st. Your ultimate deadline to apply, and this is for everybody, if your permit expires August 31st, is on August 31st at 11:59 p.m. Universal Coordinated Time, which is 7:59 p.m. Montreal time. So we would never recommend that you wait until the last day. People have technical issues, they can't upload the form, they're panicking. Like do it at least, a week before would be ideal, but your actual ultimate deadline is the day that your permit expires. So yeah, I would say apply for the CAQ now with like a letter from your department that confirms that you're expected to graduate by to submit your final thesis by December 15th and graduate in February 2026. Okay.
And just to complete my question, it's not a good idea to leave Canada and do.
So if your study permit and if you need an entry visa or ETA, let's say, as long as they're valid, like let's say they expire August 31st, you can travel in and out of Canada until then. Okay. But if you need to be studying on September 1st, then it's really important that you be back here by August 31st and that you've submitted an application to extend by August 31st. And then once you've once August 31st comes around, if you don't have a new study permit, new entry visa, whatever, don't leave Canada until you get a decision, or else you lose your maintained status.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
So I would say ideally you should just register for fall, get a letter from your department, and then just make sure you can show though that you can pay for whatever the tuition and fees are and your living expenses for that fall term.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to try Charlie again.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Very sorry, Nicole, for that. So I'm a PhD student as well. My passport expires in August 2026. So my study permit expires in August 2026. But my CIQ expires in 2027. So I am in the process of renewing my passport and so my study permit as well. My question is, do I renew my CIQ as well, or do I wait 2026 to renew it as well? Because I just don't want, if it would be better for me to do everything this summer so that I have a study permit for next year's and the year after as well as CIQ, and not doing papers every year, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yes. So I would say for you, what you can try to do, and students have been successful in the past doing this, is you apply to renew your CAQ first, but you're going to need to have, doesn't have to be long, but like a cover letter that explains why you're applying so early to renew your CAQ. And essentially it's to avoid having to extend your study permit 2 times. So you'll explain the situation like, when you expect to complete your program, which is sometime after 2027, I assume,
Yes,
like after
exactly.
this CAQ expires. So, what program you're in, when do you expect to complete your program? So you say like expected final term plus the month and date that you expect the degree to be granted. And for everybody, if winter is your final term, your degree will be granted in May. If summer is your final term, your degree will be granted in October. If fall is your final term, your degree will be granted in February of the following year. So you could always say that, and then you can even be explicit and ask for when you want your document extended to. So if winter is your final term, you're going to ask for the document to be extended to August 31st of that year. If summer is your final term, you're going to ask for the document to be extended to November 30th of that year. And if fall is your final term, you're going to ask for the document to be extended to March 31st of the following year. It can help just so that mistakes aren't made and you get December 31st instead of March 31st, that kind of thing. So Charlie, you would just kind of explain like when you're going to be completing your program, and then you can indicate, my current study permit expires on X date because my passport was expiring. I've since renewed my passport. I'm going to need to extend my study permit, but in order to avoid having to do that twice, I would like to renew my CAQ now until the end of my studies. So just, again, supporting letter from the department, proof of financial capacity, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you very much. That's perfect.
You're welcome. Tran, Lynn?
Yes, good morning. I just have a quick question. I have my CIQ and I submitted my student permit renewal at the beginning of May, and I have received the submission confirmation, but I still have not seen any other updates up to now. So I'm not sure if should I be worried or should I do something or just wait?
So you submitted your study permit extension in May of this year?
Yes. So
Yeah.
1st of May, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I'm assuming you submitted and you got like the automatic like acknowledgement of receipt.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I would say unfortunately it's just normal right now. Like processing
Okay.
times are so long.
Oh, okay.
I think they're saying close to 200 days officially, and then kind of unofficially IRCC has told us that it's closer to 120 days, but 120 days is still, 4 months, right? So, June, July, August, September, you might not get a decision until sometime in September. And again, those times, they're estimates and they change all the time. Like I've looked at certain things. 1 week it says 2 weeks, then 5 weeks, then 8 weeks, depending on the country. So it can definitely change. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry yet. I wouldn't worry yet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just very nervous. Like I submitted very early and
no, it's okay. Yeah, for now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too. Ariana?
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, thank you. I'm in a similar situation as everybody else. I'm a PhD student renewing my documents. The study permit expires August 31st, and I renewed my CAQ. And I was also planning some travel in September. I've already participated in a drop-in session last time with Chris. I'm from Italy, and the traveling that I would need to be doing is in Italy. So what he suggested was, well, if you could go before, you could potentially submit another application from outside of Canada and then come in once that application is approved, since the processing time is a little bit slower. Now I just checked today, it's at 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I wanted to ask is, I guess that this would imply, if I do this, that I lose my maintained status if I'm not back after the study permit has expired. And I just wanted to understand a little bit what are the implications of that in terms of university registration, like if that is affected in any ways. I'm an holder of scholarship from FRQSC. So like before taking maybe, you know, such a decision, I wanted to ask a little bit more, what does it imply to have lost your maintained status?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can mute. I'm going to just try to mute the chat so that when people, let me see if I can do that. New students. I don't know. I'm not seeing it there now. But anyways, so sorry. It keeps binging, whatever.
No problem.
It's making a noise. So if you, for example, your permit expires August 31st, you've applied to extend it, you've submitted the application, and then you travel, and then you do not return by August 31st. Okay.
Yeah.
It's at that point that you've lost your maintained status. What that means is that you are no longer authorized to study or work while you are physically residing in Canada. So let's say you're in Italy and you've lost your maintained status. You're still, if you can continue to like do your field research, communicate with your professors, like if you can continue your studies virtually, that's okay. Your application will actually continue to process the study permit extension application. And once it's approved, the actual document will be mailed to whatever Canadian address you included in your application. Mm-hmm. So in terms of, you know, how this might affect, you know, your funding, as long as those departments and those sources, it's okay to be paid. It's just that you're not authorized to study or work while you're inside of Canada.
Right.
Okay, so that's the main thing. So like if you suddenly had to be back here to like teach a course, be a TA, do something, work in the lab, do research in the lab, then you're in trouble. But if that's not your situation, then you could even, for example, like if you can be away for a semester, you can ask for a thesis away notation status. So if I search, you know, McGill legal documents, and this might apply to some people, I think I'm still sharing my screen. And if you go to, I think international, and you go down, it says thesis away. So if you're going to be away for an entire semester, you can ask for that notation on your thing. I mean, other things, like McGill consequences of like losing maintained status. I mean, in theory, like you should have a course registration hold now on your account that maybe you can undo if you can prove that you're not here and that, you know, you have thesis away status, that kind of stuff. I don't want to get too much into that because it's not the scope of what we do, and those are not our decisions to make. ISS does not put holds on people's accounts and that kind of thing. In terms of like possibly having two applications going at once, so let's say you go to Italy this summer and you decide to submit an online application from there, but also keep this one going here, I would at least, you know, have a cover letter explaining your situation. So like, I'm a student at McGill, my study permit expires on X date. I submitted an application to extend it from Canada on whatever date. Processing times are super long. I happen to be in Italy for the summer to see my family, and the processing times are shorter. So I'm submitting this one here in the hopes, but I don't know which one is going to be processed first. So as soon as whichever one is approved, I'll cancel the other one. That's kind of what you would need to do. But yeah, I can't, I don't know. Do you have any other question about that or?
Yes, that was going to be exactly my next question in terms of how to justify that I submit another application from outside of Canada.
I mean, they don't I think they don't love it, but it does happen, and people have done it in the past without like any negative consequence. I just say IRCC is unpredictable these days, so I don't know.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much. That really
You're
clarifies
welcome.
everything. Thank you.
Okay, Hector.
Hi, thank you. So I'm just a French student, incoming U4 student in the undergrad at McGill. And I thought I was doing my program in 3 years. Turns out I'm going to be doing it in 4 years. So when I applied to renew my CAQ, they first rejected it, saying they thought I was failing too many classes. But then they finally approved it. And I was able to renew my study permit or do a request for that. And that was processed and read on the 18th of May. So everything expires the 31st of August, and I'm wondering, am I going to have any issues going back into the country, being able to register for classes during add and drop period? I'm coming in on the 27th of August from France to Canada. So I'm just wondering, since I don't have an update yet, and it's been almost 2 months, I'm
Yeah.
getting pretty worried.
And you might not have any update or decision until like September, like I said to the other student, until September or even later, who knows. So I would say when you're traveling back at the end of August, travel with proof that you submitted your study permit extension application. They might not even ask you, but have it with you just in case, okay? And, you know, for example, if the agent looks at your study permit and says to you, well, this is expiring in 4 days, like, what's your plan? At least you can say, you know, I submitted an application to extend my study permit from inside Canada in May, still waiting. And, you know, here's proof that, you know, I have the proof that I applied, and, you know, and that you don't intend to, you know, you're going to, you know, that you can't, you know, leave until you get a decision. I mean, you can leave, but that you'll lose your maintained status. So I think you should be okay to re-enter as long as you know, you make sure you come before the 31st. You, to be safe, travel with proof that you have applied to extend your study permit. In terms of course reg holds, it is possible that after August 31st, a course reg hold will be placed on your account. My understanding, so if you're in a situation where, oh my gosh, there's this class you really want to add, contact Service Point, explain your situation, and upload proof that you have maintained status. So like proof that you submitted your study permit extension application before August 31st. And I think normally they have a way to kind of, sometimes they will temporarily remove the hold so that you can register for the class. But again, like anything, course registration is really outside of ISS just because we don't control that. But our experience has been that, like, if you explain it to them and you have some proof that you have maintained status, then it is within the realm of definite possibility that you can add a course if you need
Perfect.
to.
So I should be good until the 31st of August, basically.
So until the 31st of August, you can add and drop classes as you please.
Okay.
And then after that, you might need help from Service Point to do that.
Okay, perfect. And when you say proof that I've applied, is that just like a screenshot from the IRCC website, or is there like an
Yeah, like
official?
you could save it. Like, so for, I know for sure. So yeah, you could do you could save that page as a PDF of your account, but also I'm pretty sure that like after you submitted the application, you also received like a PDF letter possibly in your account
Okay,
that just
yeah.
confirmed the date that you submitted or that your application was received. So yeah, that too.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Chloe?
Yes, hi, sorry.
Hi.
I'm in the same situation as Hector. Like in the beginning, I wasn't supposed to do my bachelor's in 4 years. But I submitted my well, first of all, I didn't know I had to renew my CAQ. It's expiring the same day as my study permit. So I actually submitted my application without renewing my CAQ. And also I submitted my application like from inside Canada, but now I'm outside of Canada. So like, do I still have to change, like, do I still have to redo my application?
You don't have to redo it. But the question I have now is, have you since renewed your CAQ?
No, I didn't know I had to.
Right. So if you apply to extend your study permit and then there's a section to upload your CAQ. And if you just uploaded your same CAQ that expires August 31st, 2025,
Yeah.
they're not going to give you a study permit that goes beyond that date.
Okay.
Okay. So when did you submit your application to extend your study permit?
I applied like in June, I think, like beginning of June
Beginning of June.
or May. I don't remember.
So what could happen? It could be refused at any moment because it was
Okay.
incomplete. If that happens, you'll just simply have to reapply. But the urgent thing now is you need to apply for your CAQ renewal like ASAP because it's taking minimum probably 5 weeks. So 25 business days. But it could take longer, especially if there's anything, common reasons for like, so if Immigration Quebec is not satisfied with something, they'll send you an intention to refuse letter. It's not a refusal, but it's a request for additional documents or explanations. So for example, because you have to provide your official transcript, you have to order it and include it in your application. If there are any failed courses, any part-time terms, whatever, you need to explain that and ideally include supporting documents. I'm going to just put in the chat the CAQ renewal guide, but definitely like that you can do from wherever you are. So if you're in France, where are you right now?
In Belgium.
In Belgium. So like if you're in Belgium for the summer, that's fine. You can renew from there. I'm just going to put it in the chat.
But so
But so for the pending study permit extension application, what you could try to do right now to avoid like a refusal, I would say like you could cancel your application and ask for a refund. I don't even know if they would refund it if you applied like a month ago, or it depends. I don't know if you would even get a refund at this point. I can't even, if you had your CAQ now, I could say, well, check the processing times from France. You could do an outside Canada application from France, but you don't have your CAQ yet. So there's no point in doing that. And by the time you get one, it'll be too late. So what you could try to,
the CAQ? How long does it take to have it?
We're telling students 5 to 8 weeks. It
Oh
could
my
maybe
God.
be more close to 5 weeks.
Okay.
So what I would say is this. Right now, what you could do is, I'm gonna just find the website for you. I would contact you could send this to this is the IRCC web form, the second link in the chat that I just put, and you could explain what your mistake. Look, first apply for your CAQ, at least like do the online portion, and then you'll get some confirmation. And then send a cover letter and like a screenshot of your your Immigration Quebec portal that shows that you've applied, at least you've applied now, and explain your mistake. Say, look, I submitted an application to extend my study permit on X date. I didn't realize I needed a new CAQ. I just realized it. So I've just submitted the CAQ application. It's going to take at least, 5 or more weeks to process. Please, like, as soon as I get my CAQ, I'm going to send it to you through the web form. Here's proof that I've applied. Please don't make a decision until, you can try to do that. I would say, Chloe, look, contact us in, I don't know, mid-August if you still don't have a CAQ.
Okay.
Or if you run into issues with your CAQ or you have questions about the application, okay?
Okay.
Yours is a little bit more complicated. So apply for the CAQ ASAP. See if you can contact RCC through the web form to just let them know, here's the proof I've applied. Please don't make a decision. As soon as I get one, I'll send it to you. But bottom line is, for anybody, if you've submitted an incomplete application, there's always a chance it can be rejected at any time. So And as long as you get that rejection before August 31st, you can apply again to extend your study permit and maintain your status as a student if you submit by August 31st.
Okay, so it's okay if I send it before 30, like if I send it now, if I submit my applications from now on, it's still okay in terms of time.
Your CAQ, you mean?
Yeah,
you may get
CAQ
your CAQ in time.
and
even if you don't get it, let's say your CAQ is approved, I don't know, September 10th. Okay?
Yeah.
If your study permit extension application is still processing at that time, you could still try to have it join your application until that decision is made. You can still try. But I definitely,
there are chances I don't get my study permit before, like, because they say that, like, once I get in Canada, like, how much time do I have on site? Like, how much time can I spend on site if my permit expires on the 31st of August?
So I think it's just getting a bit too complicated, and there's a lot more questions. What I will say is this: so like, there are going to be students, it happens every year, where August 31st is coming and they still don't have their CAQ. So what they do, it's not ideal. It's really like a last emergency effort to kind of stay in Canada, is they submit a study permit extension application with proof that their CAQ is processing.
Okay.
Normally, if you submit an application to extend your study permit before your permit expires, you have what's called maintain status until you get a decision on your application, no matter how long it takes. Okay, so that after August 31st, you can continue to study, you can continue to work on and off campus under the same conditions. But that's kind of, normally a student would have a complete application when they do that. If a student submits an incomplete application, like you don't have a CAQ, it has happened that an officer refuses the extension and backtracks their loss of status to August 31st instead of the date of the refusal. So let's say the agent refuses your application in November. Normally, a student who's had maintained status until the refusal. But for students who submit an incomplete application, occasionally we see an agent backtrack that loss of status to August 31st, where in theory, any study or work you would have done after August 31st would be unauthorized. You have to disclose it, explain it. I don't want to, it's a bit complex. So it might be better to discuss it like closer to the end of August if that ends up being your situation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you write to us if you have follow-up questions. Okay, Chloe?
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
Number 2, Begum?
Hi, yes. So I'm a U4 international student. I'm still in Canada. I haven't left, and I renewed my passport. So I'm also extending my studies for a year. So I'm trying to renew my CAQ now first, although it still has time to like 2026 August. So I'm guessing I should add a cover letter that explains why I am like renewing it early. And also, I saw in CAQ website, it says about like international student limit. Does it affect me, or like should I just wait for a few months until the incoming students like finish their processes?
No,
or
don't
is it
wait.
fine?
Don't wait. And Begum, when does your study permit expire?
It's 2026 August. Like I was supposed to finish in 2026, but I'm now trying to extend it to 2027.
Okay, so both your CAQ and study permit expire in August 2026.
Yeah. But I have renewed my passport.
Right. Okay. Usually with the passport renewal issues, usually the study permit expires before the CAQ, but you're telling me that they both expire August 2026. Is that right?
Yes, because my passport was supposed to expire like like a few months after that, so I didn't want to stress, so I want to do it early.
Okay. The thing is, it's a little bit early, especially if they both expire at the same time. I'd say it's a little early to extend your CAQ only because you don't have the same reason as the other student who was asking the question where like one expires, before the other. Like one is expiring very soon, right? And then another is expiring much later. Normally, when you're renewing documents, you should have proof of enrollment beyond the expiration date of that document. So like ideally, when you renew your CAQ study permit, you have proof of enrollment for fall 2026, winter 2027. Sometimes we'll say, look, because of processing times, you can start the CAQ application a little bit sooner. But I would say now it's a bit early.
Okay,
like
I also
maybe
got a document from McGill saying that my studies will extend till like winter 2027.
you could try, you could try to do it and see what happens.
Also, I wasn't sure like if I can leave the country and come back since my passport doesn't match the one in the study permit and CAQ.
Yeah, so what I would do is travel with your old passport, your new passport, and your current documents that are still valid.
Oh, okay. Also, just a question, in the CAQ document, we need to enter the listing price of the education, but it's very different since I entered at 2022 and now it has increased a lot. So am I supposed to enter 2025 listing price that shows in the website or what I pay?
You should enter what you pay. And then you can, you can always include a little cover letter that says, I pay the tuition rate of students who started in fall 2022, and this is what it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay. Ideally, also, are you undergrad or grad?
I'm an undergrad.
Undergrad? Yeah. I mean, student accounts used to have like PDFs that would show what the rate was for earlier students that don't show up on the fee calculator, because I think the fee calculator only goes back to 2023 admits. So you could try to apply just with your explanation. If they question you, if Immigration Quebec questions you with regards to the tuition, then you might need to contact student accounts to get them to confirm that like this is what your tuition is going to be. Okay.
Okay. Also, if I apply now, so do you think it will get like rejected, or will they like just
I don't
make
know.
it wait?
I don't know. You could
Should
try.
I wait for a bit?
Okay. Like I said, like normally we say like I would say winter 2026 to apply to extend would maybe make more sense, but I just can't predict. Yeah, if they refuse it for just that, you could reapply again later.
Okay, would it be a problem if I get a refusal?
That money. For the CAQ, no. I mean, it shouldn't really matter if it's just because you applied too early, but yeah. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Raphael?
Yes, hello. Can you
hear me? Hello. Yes.
Perfect. It's also quite similar to the other ones, but it still has some differences, so that's why I'm asking the question. So I'm an undergrad, and I'm going to do my last term in fall. And I already renewed my study permit in like mid of April because it expires on August 1st. And I already had travel plans to go back to France for the month of August. So I know that I'll be traveling like right before it expires because I'm leaving Canada for on the 26th of July. And I had planned to go back to Canada on September 3rd, if I'm right. And I know that I'll lose my maintained status. And do you have any recommendation? What do you think? Do you think there's a problem, or?
Well, the problem is that. So when did you apply to extend your study permit?
On April 22nd.
I mean, it might be approved while you're away. If that's the case, you could, I mean, ideally you would have the actual new study permit when you return, but you would at least have that approval, a study permit extension approval letter in your account. And you could travel with that and explain to the agent, look, I submitted it in April, it was approved while I was away, it's at my apartment, whatever. But you are definitely taking a risk that what if your study permit extension application is still processing when you're planning to return? Now you've lost your maintained status, and the only way, if you are allowed to enter in September, they might allow you to enter, but it would be as a visitor. Now you are not authorized to study and you're not authorized to work, not authorized to go to class, not authorized to engage in any study related activities. If you do, you have to disclose it on like all future applications. You should even really update your pending application and explain and disclose. And the problem is that, you know, the possible consequences of unauthorized study or work are a refusal of your immigration application, a 6-month ban on obtaining or applying for a study permit or work permit from the date that you stopped doing the unauthorized study or work. You could get a 1-year exclusion order where you're not allowed to be in Canada for a year, even as a tourist, or a 5-year exclusion order if, you know, you don't disclose and they find out and they think that you've misrepresented like a crucial piece of information. So I would almost say, like, if you leave Canada and you don't come back by August 1st and you don't have a decision, I would almost say stay where you are until you do get a decision. And you might lose that fall semester. You might not get it in time. We don't recommend that students miss like more than the first week of class. Obviously, it's up to you what you want to do, but like be aware of like, what is the course add drop deadline? What is the course withdrawal with refund deadline? Like, what is the, you know, and be aware of kind of like, it could end up not being so great for you. Another option, if you're in France right now and you have a new CAQ, is kind of similar to what I was telling that other student is, you know, you could try to submit an application, but you're here now, is that right?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
You're
like,
here now.
In 3 weeks.
You could, I mean, you actually, it doesn't work in the reverse way, but it is possible to submit an outside Canada application while you're physically here. It doesn't work in the reverse, with an explanation. And just say like you're doing it in case because you might not get this and the travel plans. I don't know how they'll do it, but it's possible that you could get a decision within 6 weeks or less from the time you submit the application, which would in theory give you time, you know, once it's approved, you would get a letter. And then you need to like arrive at the airport with that letter and they will give you the study permit then. But in order to get the correct, it's the IMM 1294 form. It's an outside Canada study permit application. You have to follow the renewal guide for outside applications. You know, it's an option. It's no guarantee either, but or you change your summer plans and you don't, you know, you travel earlier and you come back earlier, which may or may not, you know, work for you, but it's definitely, you're risking the fall semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure I understood what you meant by disclosure or disclose.
So like if you start your courses, right, on August 27th or September 4th when you come back, whenever that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Without authorization, because like you don't have a study permit approved, right?
Yeah.
That means that in every, like on every study permit application, for the postgraduate work permit application, probably for permanent residency applications, there's always a question and it says, have you ever like studied or worked without authorization? You're gonna have to say yes, you're gonna have to explain yourself, and then it's at the discretion of the agent to decide what to do. They could refuse your application, they could impose consequences, you could even be denied entry at the airport when you come, you know, like these are all possibilities. And I don't want to sound scary, but it can happen.
Yeah, no, I get
it.
No, of course,
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
What can you repeat what you recommend if I choose to travel and I end up receiving my approval letter of renewed study permit during the month of August when I'm outside of Canada? So I won't have the paper.
Yeah,
because I would
I would at least travel with that letter that indicates that your application was approved. It'll have the validity dates of the new permit, and it will indicate on the letter that the permit has been mailed to you. So at least travel with that, and it should be in the system of the CBSA officer.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
No worries. And in terms of the outside Canada application, again, it's a lot of explaining to do, whatever, especially if you submit it while you're here. The only way to trigger that application, the correct one, the IMM 1294, is to, when it asks you, like in the online questionnaire, like where are you residing, you have to say France to get the right checklist, but then you need to include an explanation, like actually I'm in Montreal right now, but this is the reason why I'm submitting an outside Canada application. So essentially processing times are slower, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
It would be
okay.
one option to look into. Okay, but if you have other questions, yeah, that would be more of a follow-up, okay?
Thanks. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
you're welcome.
Bye.
I think we're at Abigail. Is that possible?
Hi, yes.
Hi.
So
Hi.
I have a similar question to Hector, but it's a bit more specific. So I'm an undergrad going into my U3, and because of changes to one of my minors, they've changed my course offerings to not in the next academic year. So I'd have to basically, according to my academic advisor, take an extra semester, but it's only 2 required courses, which technically, since it will be my final semester, will allow me to take it not as a part-time. So it's my last semester, it's not really like a final semester. And so I also I've tried, but I cannot take any of these courses earlier because technically I should be graduating next year at the end of the year, so May 2026. My CAQ and my study permit are valid until July 2026. So I wanted to know, would I be rejected at all if I apply for an extension for that additional semester while I'm only supposed to be taking 2 courses? Because I don't necessarily need any more for that final semester, but I also understand that like a full-time student is required to have 4 courses or above. So I'm not really sure how I should do that. Yeah.
Tell me, so your documents expire July 2026, right?
Yes.
And you're going to be full-time registered for at least 12 credits all the way through the winter 2026 term.
Yes.
Yes. And then you just need fall 2026 part-time to finish.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. That's fine. You can renew your CAQ. You could maybe do that. You could even try maybe doing that with a good letter, with a good explanation letter and a good supporting letter from your department. You could maybe even try as early as fall 2025.
Okay.
But if not, try like in January 2026. And just explain like, I intend to be registered part-time for these 2 remaining courses, and the only 2 courses I need to complete my program. I'll be registered for those in fall 2026, but just say, please note that I don't have proof of enrollment for fall 2026 yet because registration only opens at the end of May 2026. Yeah. My study permit expires in July, and it's so close that this is why I'm applying, a little bit early without proof of enrollment for fall.
Okay.
Try that.
So I just have to explain why I needed a bit earlier.
And you can say, look, please, as you can see from my transcript, I've always been full-time, or I'm registered full-time even through winter, and I'm only going to be part-time in fall. And that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Victoria.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this session. I have some questions. I'm a graduate student. My study permit is expiring August 31st, both my CAQ and study permit. And my first question is, I have 2 supervisors, and only one of them has signed me the letter of extension of my study permit, but the main supervisor that I submit last time, he hasn't sent me the letter, and that therefore I haven't submit my CAQ application. So is there any problem if I only submit my application with the letter of the supervisor that it's not the main supervisor?
Yeah, that's fine. As long as the letter, what it should say is, that you're in this program, you've been in this program for however long, you've always been full-time. I think grad departments are more willing to confirm that. When you're expected to graduate, and if you're going to be getting any funding for the 2025-2026 academic year, it should be mentioned. And that's it. It doesn't really matter who signs it. It could be whichever supervisor, it could be your graduate program coordinator, graduate program director, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay, there's another thing in regards to that, is just that my supervisors are not funding me. I'm on my own. I'm here with my husband. My husband is going to provide me, and I will work as a TA. I will pay my tuition fees with that. But I'm not getting any funding, and I think the supporting documents for the living expenses that we have, it's enough. However, that's something that I was worried about, but now it's that my supervisors are not funding me. They signed me to continue, but
no funding.
One of them is not quite willing to sign. He don't want me to continue because I have been facing some health issues. I've been quite absent these last terms. He doesn't want me to continue. And I will apply anyways because one of them has already signed, but the other things are okay. But again, since I have this issue and health complications, some of my counselors have suggested me to ask if it is possible to, once I renew my documents, what happens if I ask for a leave of absence? Is it that, does that affect my current status or not? Or should I wait until I have an answer? Or what should I do? Just submit and then wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to hear about the issues with the supervisor. I wish I actually knew where to refer students to if you, I don't know, I'm assuming there are some graduate resources if there are certain issues with supervisors that you can go to that are like, I don't know if it's the graduate program coordinator or it's outside of that, some other unit in GPS. In terms of funding, look, Immigration Quebec and Immigration Canada, they just want to know that you can pay for your next year of studies. So that's tuition and fees plus living expenses. If you have a common law partner or a spouse, then that living expense amount, which is $15,508 for a single person, it's more, and you probably know that already. So you just have to be able to show that and like explain, and it's very clear to them. Relying on income from like a TA ship, it's tricky if you don't like already have a contract for future, like for fall 2025, winter 2026, or at least fall 2025, because if not, it's like, well, how do I know you're going to be a TA in the fall kind of thing? But you can explain. The closer you are on the line, like the more important it is to like really explain and have good supporting documents like bank statements, bank letter, that type of thing. Or if your partner is employed, then like their employment contract, recent pay stubs, so that they see that there's money coming in, that kind, in terms of, leave of absence, definitely like, one leave of absence is easily explained, and in terms of like, it's not going to impact negatively your post-grad work permit eligibility. More than one, it becomes a little bit more complicated, but at least when you're on a leave of absence, normally there's like a paper trail. You have supporting documents, like you can explain it. In terms of getting a leave of absence right now and applying for the extension with a leave, do you have your new CAQ yet?
No, I haven't applied because my supervisor didn't sign.
Yeah, okay. So in terms of applying for a leave of absence and like showing that when you're doing an extension, we think it's a little bit more gray in terms of what they might say. It might be easier to apply to extend it with proof that you're enrolled for fall and winter upcoming, And then if things change and you need to do a leave of absence, you know, later, then that might be safer. But why don't I'll just, why don't you send that question, just the question about leave of absence and extending, and one of us will get back to you for that. But for right now, like you're registered for fall, winter, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes, and you have the letter from at least one supervisor, I'd say apply for
Yes.
your CAQ now. Do it now, because it's going to take, like I said to the other students, like 5+ weeks to get it.
Yeah, and there's another question that it's very important for me, because since I'm here with my dependent, and my dependent depends on my study permit to be able to work.
Yeah.
I'm renewing his study permit. It's expired. Sorry, his work permit is expiring also the same date as mine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my question in here is, my dependent already has a stable job. Is he able to close his open work permit apart from mine application to the study permit and secure his migration status here to being able to work, and me separately apply for my renewal of the study permit? Is that possible, or is not?
So
not
we
possible?
don't, it's just that we don't advise on like closed work permits. So if you wanted information about that, you'd have to reach out to like a outside legal counsel outside of ISS.
Okay, but in the meantime, should I submit it into my application? Like,
yeah, I mean,
and
right
he
now,
will get the maintenance status too.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and this is for everybody, like if your document expires August 31st, like you must do something before August 31st. You either need to submit an application to extend your document, or leave Canada, or change your status to a visitor. If not, you will be out of status like the next day, or, you know, 8 p.m. Montreal time. So just a reminder that you really got to respect that deadline, and changing your status to a visitor is not a good solution normally, because as a visitor, you have no authorization to study or work. So just everybody keep track of those dates. And if you're getting to the end of August, like it's August 20th, and you still don't have like a new CAQ and you're really worried, like come contact our office, and we usually try to save appointments for those people. Okay, I'm going to move on just because I want to try to get through as many more as I can. Rachel?
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I just graduated from my undergraduate degree in May from McGill this year, and I'm going to, I graduated in science. I'm going to do a master's in bioengineering in the fall, and I'm in the process of renewing my study permit, and but I was just wondering, if I don't get my study permit before like August 27th, where like school starts, am I still able to like study at McGill? Because I'm changing
so you finished at McGill, you did an
Yeah.
undergrad at McGill, and now you're starting a master's at McGill.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the good thing is that you're going from the same DLI to the same DLI. So as long as you submit an application to extend your study permit with a new CAQ for master's level studies, then you can start. Well, you can start your program even if you don't have a decision yet.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Ashleisha?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Yeah, so I'm an undergraduate student and I have my final semester in fall in order to graduate. However, my study permit is expiring August 31st. I have applied for my CAQ and I have received an intention of refusal, which means I have to send additional documents. However, I'm leaving Canada next week and I'm returning August 25th. And I guess my question is, can I still travel, or is it better for me to stay here?
What's your citizenship?
So I'm Indian.
Okay. You can travel as long as you but like you probably won't get a decision on your CAQ before you leave, right?
Yeah.
And so you won't be able to submit your study permit extension application before you leave. But as
No, yeah.
long as you re-enter and submit that extension by or before August 31st, you can still benefit from maintained status. Okay, so
I'm
so
worried.
I'm just gonna put the maintained status information in the chat. What's your concern? I mean, when you come back in, could a border officer look at your study permit and be like, you know, what's you know, it's expiring very soon.
Yeah.
So you'll say, I know my CAQ was just approved. My intention is to submit my study permit extension application before my study permit expires.
Mm-hmm.
And normally that should be okay.
Okay. I'm more worried like if my CAQ doesn't get approved.
Yeah. Have you
what would I
already
do?
responded to the letter?
No, I just received it yesterday.
Okay. If you're not sure about what did it say? What was the issue?
It said because I had part-time status in one semester.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't meet my 12 credits. And so
Okay.
it's, I guess, requiring further explanation into that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I have an ISS appointment booked next week as well, but
Okay, so we'll talk about it then. Essentially, this is for anybody too. Like if it's a transcript situation where you weren't always full time, you want to really explain. Like if it's one semester, great. If it's one time only, if it's multiple semesters, you need to like semester by semester, bold heading, like what happened in this semester, what happened in the next semester. And then ideally, but it's not always possible, supporting documents that help to kind of confirm what it is that you're saying. It's not always going to be possible. Sometimes it's just that class was really hard and I was over my head. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. But you also maybe want to emphasize like maybe that was like one blip in your record and you've mostly been full time and you've mostly passed all of your classes. I would really emphasize that as well. And especially like if you're in satisfactory standing, like all of these things you want to emphasize. And like this was just really like this one thing that happened and you're on a different track now. That can be helpful. So I would say respond to the intention to refuse as soon as possible, but obviously like after you meet with an advisor, if you have an appointment next week. Normally it doesn't take a whole nother like 5 weeks to get a response, and hopefully it will be approved. If not, you want to, you know, reapply for that CAQ ASAP, you know, so that you have a chance of getting an approval before the end of August. Okay?
Okay, so I don't need to like rearrange my travel
Change
plans.
your
I'm
travel
fine.
plans. I mean, as long as you're back here before the 25th, obviously, if you have no new CAQ, then there are, you know, it's not an ideal situation to be in, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, even when you're coming back in, you would at least have proof that you have a new CAQ.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If you don't have it, at least travel with proof that you've applied and it's pending.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
at
you
the
so
end of the
much.
day, entry to Canada is always at the discretion of the border officer. I can never, ever tell a student like 100% you're going to be let in. But, you know, if your documents are still valid, if you can kind of try to explain, if they question you, like sometimes they're so busy, they see it's still valid, they wave you through. But be prepared to maybe have to do some explaining.
Okay. I will.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Devi?
Hi,
Dave? Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I am a U1 student coming from Turkey, and I have already applied on the 29th of April for the renewal of my study permit, which has not arrived yet. My study permit will be expiring on the 18th of August, and my plane ticket is on the 27th of August. So, would you suggest that I come earlier than the expiry date of my current study permit? And I
Yes.
also have another. Would you suggest that?
Yes, because I mean, look, if your study permit extension is approved while you're away, then maybe you
Yeah.
don't need to change your travel plans, okay?
Oh,
But
I see.
if it's not, then you will not be able to benefit from maintained status, and you might
Oh,
not
okay.
be allowed to re-enter Canada. And even if you are allowed to re-enter, it's only as a visitor. So So when you're getting close to that the August 18th date, if you don't have a new, if your study permit extension has not been approved, I would change your ticket and come back sooner.
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
So I also have one more question.
Yeah.
I also renewed my passport as well, and my current study permit ending on the 18th of August, and also my CAQ ending in 2028 are both connected with my expired passport. So would you suggest that I enter the border with my tourist visa?
No, you should travel with your study permit, your entry visa, because you need both. So study permit, entry visa, old passport, new passport.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Have a nice day.
Liliana, you too.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm a master's student and my program is ending also in August 31st. And my CAQ and my study permit also ends in August 31st. So my question is, should I renew my CAQ and my study permit before August 31st, or should I just wait for my grades by late August and apply for my PGWP?
I didn't hear, are you a grad student or undergrad?
I'm a master's student.
Master's, okay. And do you know, like, what's the latest date all of your final grades are going to be uploaded on Minerva?
August 15, 16, mid-August.
Okay. It sounds, so what you'll need to apply for the postgrad work permit, so degree is officially granted in October. And that's when you can generate a proof of graduation letter on Minerva by yourself. But if you want to apply for the postgrad before October, you need to ask Service Point for that postgrad work permit letter that confirms that you've met all the requirements of your program. You can only get that letter once all of your final grades have been uploaded. So as soon as you get all those final grades, you make that request right away and explain the urgency, like study permits expiring August 31st. And if you still don't have the letter from them by, like, I don't know, August 25th, maybe it would be worth going in person to Service Point or calling them and, see if they can expedite that in any way. Last choice is you could reach out to us, but really try on your own first. And then you don't need to extend as long as you, by or before August 31st, you submit that application for the postgrad work permit. So you need to have all the required documents at that time. So it sounds like it's within the realm of possibility. Just maybe double check with whoever's grading you or that really truly it's going to be by August 15th or 16th.
Okay, perfect. And my second question is,
yeah,
in that case, can I, like, for example, if I want to travel between these 2 months, July and August, before August 31st, can I still do it? Or do, like, if I travel outside Canada and I want to come back before August 31st, should I have any document to explain the officer that I want to enter again? Because I have already submitted, for example, I don't know, my PGWP request, and I want to keep like.
Well, are you
working
going to
and-
be submitting the request from here?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
So probably when you're traveling back in, you might not have submitted it yet, or you would already have submitted it.
no, in that case, it will be outside Canada.
I would submit it from inside Canada if you want to work while the application is processing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to be able to work while the application is processing, submit it before August 31st from inside Canada.
All right. Okay.
So, and you can, like, look, again, normally, while your documents are still valid, you can travel in and out of Canada. If you're asked about the fact that your document is expiring soon, you can just explain, like, I just finished my program, my last courses or whatever in August or this summer. I'm waiting for my grades and I plan to, like, have proof of graduation before August 31st, and I'm going to apply for the postgrad before August 31st. That's,
right.
If you're asked.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Shamir?
Hello.
Hi, Shamir. There's somebody maybe who has their mic on, and I just hear a lot of static, but I don't know who it is. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Or maybe it's you, Shamir. It's okay. Go ask your question.
Okay, so like I have my study permit expiring on the 31st of August, 2025, like just 1 month, like.
Yes, yeah.
But the thing is that I have applied for my CAQ and the study permit extension application, but I have not gotten like something from IRCC and anything. So,
Sorry,
what
you
should I
applied to
do
renew.
exactly?
Did you apply to renew your CAQ and it was approved?
Yeah, but like
Okay,
the
and then
study
you
permit has not been like approved yet. So like
okay,
the CAQ has been approved, but not the study
okay,
permit.
okay. And
So
when did you apply for the study permit extension?
it was in the first week of June, and
Uh,
I applied for the study permit extension in the first week of June, but the CAQ got accepted 2 weeks earlier than the date when I like applied for the study permit. But the thing is that since my study permit is expiring on 31st of August, and if I do not get like uh, any answer from the Canadian embassy, then what should my required next steps be?
So I would recommend that you read the link in the one I just put in the chat for maintain status. But essentially, if you submitted a study permit extension application, that's the IMM 5709 form, and you submitted
Yeah,
that from
yeah,
inside
yeah,
Canada
yeah,
before August 31st, then as
yeah,
long as of August 31st, you are here physically in Canada, and that study
yeah.
permit extension application is pending, you can continue to study and work under the same conditions as your current permit until you get a decision on the application. Doesn't matter
Okay.
how long it takes. And if you only applied in June, it's very normal that you don't have a decision yet. And it's probably very normal that you're not going to get one by August 31st. So the only
Okay.
thing you need to do is don't leave Canada as of August 31st.
Okay. But like
Okay?
still, like after the 31st of August, like am I allowed to add or drop the courses? Or like will I have to take the help of the IRCC?
Yeah, I think dropping courses is normally possible even when you have a course reg hold. My understanding is that sometime after August 31st, I don't know if it's like right away or a couple of days later, a course registration hold will be placed on your account, preventing you at least from adding. And if you can prove that you have maintained status, you may be able to get that hold temporarily lifted to register or add a course. But that you need to contact Service Point, and don't contact them now because, I mean, right now you can add or drop any course you want. But it's if you want to do that after August 31st and there's a hold on your account preventing you, contact Service Point with proof that you have maintained status, which is like proof that you submitted your application before August 31st.
Okay.
And they'll be able to advise. If you want to know the answer, like what their policy is before then, you can reach out to them sooner. But yeah.
Okay. So like there are any certain documents which I have to give to the like
Service
to the
Point? To
yeah.
IRCC, there's nothing you need to give.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you've submitted your extension. That's it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. You've done the
Yeah.
right thing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Jérôme.
Hi, Nicole. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks for organizing this. I'm a PhD student, and my CAQ and study permit expire in August 2026. So I was just wondering, like, what's the best time to renew first the CAQ and then the study permit? Like, is it
This
like
is
February,
August.
I guess?
Sorry, they expire August 2026.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I would say like the CAQ in winter 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And then the study permit right after. And
okay,
like I said to the other student, I don't know if you were here, but you know, ideally you would have proof that you're registered beyond August 2026. So proof of enrollment for fall 2026, winter 2027. Course registration doesn't open until the end of May. So you might just have a little bit of explaining to do, at least for the CAQ part of like why you don't yet have proof of enrollment. If you look at our FAQs, and this is just for everybody, in the CAQ FAQs, if you go to current students and you go to the first question there, it kind of gives you an outline of like what you might want to include in your application if you're renewing a little bit early because course reg hasn't opened yet. So
Okay,
you can
perfect.
check that out, okay? And I think we do
And I
the
guess I can
same.
just ask
Yeah,
a
go
letter
ahead.
also from my department, etc., and my PI.
Sorry?
And I can just also join a letter from my PI in my department, I guess. to
You can
explain
join
that
a
I was-
letter from, yes, you should, grad students should always have a letter indicating their expected date of graduation. It's normally pretty easy to get. Undergrads renewing, sometimes they want a letter confirming your expected grad date. Sometimes a proof of credits completed to date letter plus your own cover letter is enough. It depends.
Okay, cool.
Okay, all right.
Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. Shira? Okay, Shira, no problem. I'm looking in the chat. McGill master's student to start PhD in the fall. Not sure. Okay. Okay. All right. So Shira, just so I almost think, Shira, this is a really great question, and we have had students in similar situations. Is one scenario is that it's just PhD in the fall, and one scenario is that your transcript is going to show master's and PhD for the fall? Okay. This, I actually can't recall the exact answer to this question, but we have had other students in this situation. So what I would ask you, Shira, if you don't mind, and you wrote your question pretty clearly, but maybe just that second clarification that you made for me, include that too. Send us an RFI for a request for information for that, just because it's a little bit more complicated. So I'll just put the link to our RFI in the chat and just explain your situation. And it might just be kind of, and I think, what did you say? You said both of your study permit is good until August 2026. Okay, great. And then it's just the CAQ. Okay, so send that to us in the RFI. Thanks so much, Shira. Okay. And if I've answered your question, if you could just put your hand down so that I know that I've gotten to you. Nora?
Hi there.
Hi.
I just have a quick question, and my apologies if this is elsewhere. I haven't been able to find an answer. I'm a master's student, and I'll be finishing up my studies in May of 2026, and my CAQ and study permit ends at the end of May 2026, but my passport expires in February of 2026. So it was still issued without any issue.
Yeah.
I renew my passport. Do I have to update my CAQ and study permit if they're still?
Yeah, so CAQ definitely no, because it's not linked to the passport. You just need a valid passport when you apply. The study permit, you got lucky. I mean, normally they don't issue a study permit beyond the expiration date of the passport. Could you run into issues if, like, you're re-entering Canada after your passport expires and, like, with the current study permit? What's your citizenship?
I'm a U.S. citizen.
U.S. citizen. So, like, in the worst case, you could fairly easily apply for a new study permit, like even at your port of entry. I hate to say this again because we're trying to reduce our requests for information, but Nora, please, could you just send that question? Like, can I keep using my study permit that I have after February 1st, even though the passport associated with it expires on February 1st? Like, do I need to apply for a new study permit once I get my new passport? Maybe just could you send that RFI and I'll look into that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Nora. Raul?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Hi, good.
So my question is, so I'm renewing both my study permit and my CAQ because they both expire August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a intention of rejection letter from the CAQ. I just uploaded everything 2 days ago. My question is, should I apply for my student visa with a proof that I applied to my CAQ as well?
It's not ideal. It's really like a last ditch emergency strategy that we have. And the reason why we don't recommend it, like I would wait. It's still July 10th. Hopefully that CAQ will be approved. I would wait until at least middle to end of August before doing something like that, because there's always a risk that if you do that, even if you explain, even if you show proof that you've applied to extend your CAQ, that application is going to be refused because it was incomplete.
Right.
So I would not recommend that you do that yet.
Okay, so
Okay.
Yeah, my other question is about the maintained status. Is it something that you have to apply, or
No, it's just like an automatic benefit of, as long as you submit the study permit extension application, and this is only with inside Canada extensions. Like if you're outside of Canada and you submit an outside Canada study permit application, there's no maintained status that is connected to that. But if you're here and you submit the study permit extension application by or before the date your study permit expires, you will benefit from maintained status while you're waiting for a decision, as long as you remain in Canada, like from August 31st, onwards, or whatever the date that your study permit expires.
Okay. Another
Okay.
quick question. So if I get everything right, like I have my CAQ approved and my study permit, I'll be ending my program next year in May. But the thing is that my passport, it's gonna expire in April. So should I renew it now?
If you can do it, so you've already applied for the CAQ, right?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a way you can get your new passport before the end of August?
If I start the application by tomorrow, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, look, ideally, you would apply for your new study permit extension with a new passport, right? Because they can only give it to you up until the date of the passport, except for Nora, who got it. It happens. Sometimes they give it a little bit extra, or they're not paying attention. What I would say is try to renew your passport ASAP, as soon as possible. By or before August 31st, you submit your application to extend your study permit. If you don't have your new passport yet, you put your current passport, and then maybe in the client information section, just mention there's an optional section that says client information. Just mention my current passport expires whatever in April 2026. I've applied to renew my passport. I should be getting it shortly, like within the next few weeks, whenever that expected date is. And as soon as I get it, I'm going to send it to you through the IRCC web form. Then as soon as you get the new passport, if your study permit extension application is still pending, try to join that new passport through the web form and ask in a little cover letter, please, consider this a new passport when you're making a decision on my pending study permit application. So, you can try.
Okay, sounds
okay?
good. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. I would like to get to the next few questions. I know we're going over time. Can people just give me 3 minutes so I can get water and come back? It's up to you. Either we say goodbye now, or I'm happy to come back for a few more minutes. Somebody can write in the chat if you want me to come back. I will. If you were saying goodbye now, that's also possible. Hydration. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll be right back. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Victor.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi, I just have a quick question regarding to my renewal of the study permit. So I received my CAQ at the beginning of April, and I directly applied my study permit in the first or second week of April, but I haven't received any like response yet. And at the same time, also changed my address, like I moved to a new department. So I just kind of feel like concerned that uh, I could not change my address before the semester starts, or like I cannot get my study permit renewed like within time before the semester starts. Like my
Sorry,
OCQ,
are you saying that you changed your mailing address? What address did you change?
home address. So
Home address, and have
yeah,
you updated IRCC with the change?
I couldn't find any information regarding to changing the address, and I'm having trouble to find that.
I think you can start with this. I'm actually wondering if you can even do it through your account. Let me just see. If you're in Canada.
Yeah.
No, but I think this is for PR. Hang on. CC web form. I think there's one with the web form. Change or update your contact information. Yes, I think it's this. I think it's this one. Look at the second one.
Okay.
Continue to form. Yeah. Confirm. And then yeah. Just gonna Yeah, so this is the main IRCC web form page just for everybody, that last one. And that has different things like add a document to your application, check your status, and one of them says change or update your contact information. And you continue to the form. Okay, so do that. And in terms of like, look, again, like I've said to the other students is, you will benefit from maintained status as long as you submit that study permit extension application before your current study permit expires. And, as of the date of that expiration of the study permit, you remain in Canada until a decision is made. You'll benefit from maintained status.
Okay. So first thing I have to change. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the first thing I have to do is to change my current address to the correct address I have.
Yes.
Okay. And the other question is that because I'm a graduate student and I need to do some material work to maintain some living expenses. So I noticed that every time I submit the application and when I do that, I need the social insurance number because my study permit is going to expire at the end of August. And in case I couldn't receive the updates from my new study permit, so is that case like I cannot do any TA work?
No, you can keep working under the same conditions. And then as soon as you get your new study permit, you'll apply to renew your SIN, your social insurance number.
Okay, so that means.
Yeah. And if you look at this link that I'm giving you and you go down to the last, it talks about if your temporary SIN expires and it begins with a 9, and I think yours does, right?
Yeah, my one is.
Yeah, so it tells you like you can work until you get your new permit, and then you apply for a new SIN.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so I have another question also. I hope it's the last one. So I received my CSQ after I got my CAQ, like I received it on April 30th, but I haven't updated to Minerva because now it's saying that I'm missing document for study permit. So would you recommend that I wait until my new study permit is approved and submit a new study permit? Or I just re-uploaded my CSQ to Minerva? Because at the same time, I applied my PR at the same time, but I haven't received any information from that as well.
And are you the principal applicant on the PR application, or you're being sponsored, or?
No, I'm the principal. I through the PEQ program.
Through the PEC, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you're not a PR, right? So you still need a study permit,
Okay.
and it might be some time before you become a PR. So I don't know if this is like a service point question, or if you have immigration related questions about this. I would send us a request for information if you have like immigration questions related about this, and give us more information about like what type of CSQ, like what your category is.
As the Quebec skill workers, like the selected skill worker category.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your question is, if it's more of a service point question, and I want it's a little bit outside of when we start talking about PR, it just gets a little bit more complex, and we don't advise on PR, so let us know kind of what your question is, and we'll get to that one more specifically. Okay?
Okay. So I should send an
You
email
can send a
to.
request, but like if it's a service point question about it, then contact service point about that.
Okay,
But
perfect.
of course, like you still need a study permit, so
Yeah,
so
of
yeah,
course. So that's why I submitted, even though I received my SESQ.
yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah,
All
that's
right,
perfect.
okay.
Yeah, thank you so much
Okay,
for your help.
you're welcome. Luke?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Luke.
I applied to renew my application back in March. I have yet to hear back. I applied with my wife for an open work permit. At the time, she was unemployed, so my financial proof was the financial package that I got. I'm a grad student. Was the financial package that I got through McGill. I'm a little worried that that won't be sufficient. Is there a way that I can, before they officially approve or reject my application, send in she's now working full time. Is there a way I can send something into them to say, hey, if you haven't made a decision, she's now working full time. So that should put us over the hurdle.
And so for your spouse, you've applied to renew her open work permit? It's not her first work permit.
No, it was to renew.
It was a renewal?
Which was tied to mine, which expires.
Yeah, which expires in August?
September.
Yeah, so you could try and go here to what I put in the chat, and then there's one that has like a paper clip and it says add a document to your application. You can try. Sometimes students send stuff and the agent, I don't know, it's like it wasn't there at the beginning, so I'm not gonna pay attention to it now, but sometimes they do. So I would say it's worth, if you were kind of very borderline before, you might want to provide a bit of extra explanation, extra documents. What's your citizenship?
I'm from the US.
And your spouse as well?
Yeah, she's also from the
US.
US.
I mean, look, contact us if you get a refusal, okay? The good thing is that it's fairly easy to rectify that by, trying to go to the port of entry with all of the, proof of financial capacity if that was the reason for the refusal.
All right, great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Nick?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So I am an incoming master's student, and I just finished my undergrad this past winter. I honestly just wanted to make doubly sure that I should have applied to extend my student visa with a change in level as opposed to applying to a completely new visa.
So no matter what, like if you're a study permit holder and you apply online, it's considered an extension. And and even if it was a new application, it would still be the same form if you're applying from inside Canada online. So it's still the IMM 5709 form. The only difference between you and like someone staying at the same level is that you need a CAQ that shows like a different level, right? So you now, when you apply to extend your study permit, I'm assuming you included a CAQ for master's level studies, like second cycle. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you've done the right thing.
Okay, awesome. And if I don't hear back by August 31st, if I don't leave Canada, I can benefit from not implied.
The maintained status. Yes.
Yes, maintained status.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye. Andrews?
Okay, thank you. My study permit expires at August 31st, and I've applied for the CAQ, I have approval, and I've applied for the study permit. But in the course of the application, my study permit and then my TRV will be expiring in August 31st. It means I cannot, but I have intention of traveling. But in the course of the application of the study permit, I did not see a place where I can get a TRV. So, like, how will I get a TRV so that I can, I can travel after the study permit is approved?
Yeah, so if your documents are expiring August 31st and you don't have a new one yet, then of course, just like for everybody else, make sure you're here on August 31st. And then when you do an Inside Canada study permit extension application, they don't issue you the TRV automatically the same way that happened when you applied from outside. So when you do an outside Canada application, the TRV is kind of like automatically issued. They ask you for your passport. You don't pay extra. It's just part of the package. But when you do it from inside Canada, you wait till that study permit extension has been approved normally. And once you get that approval, you don't have to wait to get it in the mail. But as soon as you get that study permit extension approval, then you can apply separately for an entry visa from inside Canada. So it's the, I can send that link to, so I'll just show you in the screen here. This is what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll put the link in the chat.
All right.
And then I think even on our website, if you look at temporary, so under renewing documents,
Okay.
you look at renewing your, oops, not your ETA, renewing your temporary resident visa. Okay, there's a little bit of information there as well. Okay.
All right.
And we don't recommend that you leave Canada until you have a new entry visa, because you can always leave at whatever time you want. You can leave, but in order to re-enter, you need that valid TRV.
All right.
Or
So
ETA.
after the I get the study permit, then I can apply for the TRV.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you
Okay.
very much. All right.
Okay, you're welcome. Meng Meng.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. I just got a really simple question to make sure my situation. So, both of my study permit and my visa will be expired in the August 31st, and I just want to make sure that could I still be able to like stay in Canada while I waiting for my new study permit coming down after my but my visa's also expire. Is that okay for me to stay in Canada?
Yeah, so I'm going to put the link again because I think it's really like if you read the maintain status piece, hopefully it'll be more clear. I'm trying to see if we have a better, like a good FAQ about it, just because sometimes it helps to be able to, what happened? I'm waiting. Oh, we even have that. Can I apply to extend? Too bad I didn't know our FAQs enough. We even have one if you don't have your CAQ on time. We explain. So look, as long as you submit that extension, yeah, as long as you submit your extension application before your study permit expires, you can benefit from maintain status while you wait for a decision. But you have to be in Canada as of the date of the expiration until you get a decision. If you leave Canada while you're under maintain status, you'll lose your maintain status.
Okay, but even though my visa will also be expired in the end of August?
Yeah, so you're talking about your TRV, your entry visa?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you look here, and it's the same link that I just sent to the other student. So here, it's right here is the little blurb, but essentially, yeah, you can be in Canada with an expired TRV. The TRV is not what gives you status here in Canada. It just allows you to enter. So if your TRV is expired, that's okay. It's the study permit that you really need to like have submitted that application to extend.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I got another one. It's about my parents' visiting visa. I'm just wondering, like, if my situation would will affect them to apply for the visiting visa.
I mean, you know, if they apply now for TRV to come to Canada, and the purpose is like to visit you and you're a student, I mean, they could try, but and just, you know, explain maybe that you've applied to extend it and it's still processing. I don't know.
Okay, so
Like, I
you actually
can't.
be better after I get
Would it
my
be better to
new.
do it after? Probably, but could they still get it if you do it before? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So it
Yeah.
would be better like after I get my new study permit.
Ideally, I would say it would prove that, you know, you're a student here, your study permit's valid until whatever date. At minimum, you know, proof that you've applied to extend it and proof that you're enrolled for fall, winter, you know, but again, I really can't predict.
All right. I got
Okay.
it. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Felicia?
Yeah, hi, Nicole. Can you hear me?
Hi, Felicia. Thanks for your patience. We're almost there.
Thanks for waiting up with us
Yeah.
too. So my question is, I applied to renew my study permits in May, but it expires August the 1st. Do I have to wait till I get the study permit before I get the TRV because I need to travel and it's important. I can't skip the travel. So can I put in my TRV application before I get a decision on the study permit? Is it advisable to do that?
So, like, you could try, but they might refuse it because normally, not always. So there's two ways. You apply for the TRV, and sometimes they'll give it to you till the end of your passport, and sometimes they'll give it to you to match your status document. So they might just, you know, not issue you a new TRV because, you know, you don't have a new status document. You could try to explain. I would caution you though that, like, you know, with the travel situation, like if you leave Canada before your study permit extension application is approved, then, you know, again, like you're in that risk situation where it might not be approved by the time you want to come back. And now you've lost your maintained status. So normally we don't recommend that you leave Canada while you're under maintained status or like in a way that you wouldn't return before August 1st. And B, we don't recommend that you leave Canada without a valid TRV because, you know, processing times for TRVs can be very long from outside of Canada. It's much shorter from inside normally. Depends, you know, where you're going, but you don't want to get stuck outside normally.
Okay, so question, what if I travel and then I apply for the TRV outside Canada? Then I get a decision on the study permits because I did it in May. So if I get the decision, let's say somewhere end of August, and then I apply for the TRV outside of Canada, if I come back, can I start studying immediately? That's an if condition.
Yeah, so if you like leave now and your study permit is approved while you're away, your study permit extension application, then normally, like ideally, you're coming to the airport with a study permit in your hand, right? If you're coming after August 1st. At minimum, you should have that study permit extension approval letter, and then you try to explain to the border officer, like, look, I applied, it was approved, I had to leave for like this school related conference or family or whatever the situation is that made you leave, and say, look, it's at my apartment. Maybe somebody's there, they open it, they took a picture for you, you have it on your phone too, and it should be in their system. And normally, yes, it's been approved, it's been mailed to you, you can start studying. But yeah, you need a valid entry visa to return. So there's a lot of ifs, and I don't know how it would turn out, but it could all turn out okay. I don't know. If you're a grad student, Felicia?
Yes, grad student.
Yeah, so like, you know, in grad programs, sometimes there's a little bit more flexibility in terms of like, you know, maybe you're done all your coursework. Maybe you don't have to be back like August 27th, you know, maybe if you come back mid-September, you'd be okay. But if you have like, you know, you have to be teaching a course in September or you know, I don't know your situation, then you might be stuck outside. So, you know, you'll have to see what kinds of risks you're willing to take or not.
Okay, but the Yeah, but last question. So is it advisable to apply for the TRV outside, even without the study permit approval?
I think that would be tough because they'll be wondering, like, why should we give you an entry visa? You have no, especially if it's after August 1st, like you've lost your maintained status, right?
Okay.
So like, why are we going to give you an entry visa to come and you might not even be allowed to study? I would say it would be a bit risky without first having the study permit extension approved.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Got it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And last question, Balint.
Hi, so I'm the first student to ask the question, so I just wanted to circle back.
Yes.
You were saying when I show up at the border in the US, then I should have the SAQs, like saying like something specific, but I have a CSQ because I'm also applying for PR in Quebec, so I don't have the CAQ, but I have
Okay,
a
so
CSQ.
are you a category that is exempt from the CAQ requirement?
Yes, that's what I did
Yes.
when I applied.
Okay. So if you're exempt from the CAQ requirement and you're the one who is possibly a US PR?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So if you're exempt from the CAQ requirement and you have proof that you're a US PR, I would just bring enough proof, like obviously I guess a copy of your CSQ and maybe a copy of Immigration Quebec's website that shows that you're exempt from the CAQ because of the type of
Okay.
category that you are. Okay?
And I also want to double check because my department told me that for a proof of financials, I have to submit my original like MIDA letter that I received like 3 years ago, but it's expiring like this August. So and they didn't give me the others.
Yeah. So in order to renew or apply for a study permit, the border officer, if you do it at a port of entry or online, they need to be satisfied that you have enough money to pay for your tuition and fees and living expenses for your next year of studies. So that's like fall 2025, winter 2026. So if your funding ends, the letter that you have, it shows that that funding ends August 2025. To me, that's not sufficient. You would need something that shows that you can pay for stuff for the next academic year.
Yeah, that's what I told them, but they kept insisting that that's how they did in the past, and it was working for everyone in my department.
If
And
if they want to contact us, and look, I'm telling you, no, it shouldn't. I would, if that letter indicates that funding is done at the end of August, then to me that's not sufficient. And if I can't speak to like if it worked in the past or not, but I would not advise you to, especially not show up at the border with that. Yeah. If they really are pushing back, you can tell them they even can send us a request for information as staff, and they can ask us.
Okay, so I will.
And maybe attach whatever letter it is that they think is sufficient, and then probably will say it's not.
Yeah, because my prof will be paying me just like it's not within the umbrella of the original funding. It will be like a separate.
Yeah,
but
so like if you have a letter from your department confirming that you will be getting X amount of funding for the upcoming year, and ideally they write 2025, 2026, if you have guaranteed funding for multiple years, they can indicate that as well. Then that could be sufficient. But that old letter that shows that the funding is ending at the end of August, to me, it's not worth including.
Okay. But
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm also towards the end of my PhD, and I asked them to like give me because I needed a letter for the extension, and I told them to give me the latest possible date, so I don't have to renew my study permit again.
Mm-hmm.
So do I have to get a funding like for every year that they included?
Well, you need to show if you are asking for a study permit that's good at least for the next year, so more than just the fall term, then you need to show funding at least 1 year. They want to show at least your next year's the proof of financial capacity for your next year of studies, minimum.
Even though like I'm asking for like 3 more years of study permit.
Yeah, you don't need to show 3 years, just your next year, 1 year at a time. Okay.
Yeah, Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go now because I think you're the last one and we're so over time. But thanks everybody for joining today, and good luck with everything, and contact us, if there is an emergency, especially, no CAQ mid-August. But I will say our FAQs, look at the FAQs on our website because they have really a lot of information, and we might post more depending on, I'll just put it in the chat for the few of you who are remaining, but it's the FAQs. Okay, bye everybody. You're so welcome. You're welcome, everyone.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Bye.
And bye-bye.